Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is me, Faiz, and we have Aliff here. Woo! And today's episode will be the most special, I would say, because this will be the 7th anniversary of Emperikal, the 7 awesome, amazing years for Emperikal. And yeah, welcome to Emperikal Unplugged. And today, the topic will be very fundamental, not fundamental lah, okay? Tapi dia very basics, but these things maybe ada benda-benda yang not a lot of people know about this, right? Because today we will talk about Emperikal itself, alright? So yeah, Aliff, thank you for being here. I think Aliff orang dah...
Thank you for setting this up.
I punya kerja. Ni kerja I. Alright, so let's start from the beginning of time of Emperikal, right? Like about the name of Emperikal, it sound macam familiar. Orang macam I pernah dengar nama ni, tapi dia asalnya daripada mana? So can you share a bit like where's Emperikal came from?
Okay, I will share the whole story lah. First thing first, to those of you who might know, you'll know, and then but for some people they might not. Especially when they Google Emperikal, they see my face everywhere.
Yes.
Social media and the website and everything. I was not the founder. So the founder was actually Saiful. Okay, I was number 1 employee who turned into a partner.
Okay.
So I came into partnership 2 or 3 years later actually. Yeah, not at the very beginning.
So at the beginning, you just
I was the GM.
I see.
But technically I was under payroll, but I was not a partner before.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Going back in time, it was in August 2017. We sat at a coffee bar. Saiful was working as a consultant for another media network, and then I was working from I was working at another agency doing SEO. And then he came
this is
to
7 years ago.
7 years ago in August. So we sat down, and he told me that there is an opportunity that we have a partner who wants to work with us, who want to hire him actually, but he said no. So then the alternative was that why don't you start a company and then you service. So basically we did white label from the very beginning. That's how we started. So I said yes to that opportunity. I talked to my mom, who's not really happy with it, to be very honest. I mean, you came from stable jobs and then suddenly you want to venture into something that's totally risky. Digital marketing and advertising. In 2017, there's not a lot of companies yet. At that time, it's
only
not
the big
only
agency.
Even the big ones usually have the traditional. They don't have digital.
I see.
Yeah, not a lot of them. Not a lot of people know how to do it. Even on the client side too, they're not really, I would say, well versed. Not enough talent yet, especially in Malaysia. It was at a phase of growth, but we thought that the opportunity is there. We start this not from zero. We start this with secure clients. Yeah, so that's when everything happened. So in September, the company was set up. We started with 14 clients, and all are basically
14 clients.
14 clients straight away from the beginning.
Time, the first time you opened the agency.
Yeah, basically we had client. We've been servicing client before the company was even full completed registration in SSM.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
so
God.
we had that running already.
Okay.
And at that time I was also working at another agency. Because things started so fast, I wanted to leave, but I couldn't because there's not enough talent. So there's a period of 1 to 2 months where I actually had to service 2 different agencies at the same time. So I'll spend 7 a.m. to 9 at McDonald's, Ampampak. At that time, Ampampak was still there.
Okay.
The
Ampampak pun masih ada.
Ada lagi. So I will spend the morning there working for Emperikal to work, and then at 9 I will go into the office and service that client, and then the rest of the half of the day I will service Emperikal. So there I mean, of course, it was the start, and it got a bit better a few months after that when I finally finished my contract with the agency that I worked with before, and that was when things became, I would say, a bit more interesting, of course, for someone like me who used to work in a factory before. When I was a legal advisor, I was in Malacca, in Alor Gajah.
Oh yeah, you from law background, right?
Law background, but I work for an automotive company.
But I
sit in the manufacturing facility basically.
I see.
Yeah, I was based in the factory with someone who had to wear uniform, go eat at the canteen, cannot go out, and suddenly you have this kind of flexibility. Was quite crazy. So we spent the morning going to meetings. We spend afternoon to the evening just watching movies and also going swimming. We do it almost every day. We go everywhere.
To cinema.
Yeah, we go to cinema to watch every single day. Come back, go for a swim, and then at night we'll do our work.
Whoa.
So we did that for a couple of months at the start all the way until December. Then we realized that it was fun at first for the first couple of weeks, for the first couple of months. And then it gets kind of boring.
Dah tak nak hidup macam tu dah.
Yeah. And then we thought to ourselves, this is all fun. We have clients, we have secure clients. Two of us can service everything. But if we were to stop here, was the growth part, because personally for me and also Saiful, we're always looking for something more, right? We wanted to do more. We wanted to create greater impact. That's when we figure out that instead of taking everything for ourselves, might as well start an agency. So that's when we started to branch out rather than being a purely white label brand, just servicing clients that we technically, we had to serve through our partners. So that's when we started to straight away, actually over the next couple of months, by January we already have our social media team. Yeah, we started to hire people. Our first office was in Colony, which is a co-working space. Yeah, so we went there. And then our first social media client was an NGO, which is based in Australia. Yeah, so we helped them to do advertising, basically to make sure that they get donations and everything.
On social media or like traditional?
We do both, actually. Yeah, performance marketing and traditional social media. Our team would also go to they will go outside. They will go to Lebanon. They will go to Cambodia.
To do all the CSR things.
Yeah, to do all the CSR things run by great people based in Australia. So we went there as well. Even in 2018, Saiful and myself, we went to Cambodia too. To see the actual work that they do. Yeah, I think it's quite important for us to touch the bricks, to know who our clients are, what they do and everything before we can help them communicate better with people outside. And then after that, things, grow. But I think, kind of moved too far already. I should explain about the brand.
It's okay. Boleh je.
Okay, alright. So we terlompat ke belakang sikit, which is at the point of time during setting up the company. What was the name going to be?
Yes.
Okay. So we figured that when it comes to the I think this part kena potong and then letak ke depan tau.
Boleh je.
Macam pelik sikit. So set up the company and everything. Because tu. Alright. So now about the brand itself. So when it comes to the brand, we had to decide what kind of name, what we want it to be.
Sebab nama ada banyak.
Ada banyak.
Kita boleh
And
pilih je.
as you know, agencies, they will always call themselves weird names.
Yes.
Some
Especially
based
the
on
creative agency. They love weird name.
sounds like animals, just tweet words and whatnot. So we want to do something like that. But at the end of the day, what is the core of ourselves? What do we believe in? We always believe in I would say belief and true skills and experience. So we see that a lot of the challenges that people have, businesses have when they engage in agencies, that they don't really know what they're doing. Sorry to say this, but a lot of agencies out there, of course there are good ones, but there are a few that are technically, the one that they kerana nila setitik rusak
Susah belang.
people who don't really know what they're doing, but they're providing bad service actually, but people fall for it. And
this one not include scam lagi. This is the one yang the agency that don't know what to do, don't know what they need to do.
Yeah, right. So the one that delivers subpar service. So if you figure out that what make an agency great, it's usually because when you know what you're doing. When you know what you're doing, how do you know it? Because you've done it before. So similar to when our first service was in SEO, search engine optimization. Before we even started the agency, Saiful and myself, we did it for ourselves. Like Saiful would rank a site, okay, build a website, rank it and rent it out. Like to dental clinics, to maid agencies, do stuff like that and make money from that. And for myself, I prefer the blog site. So I do a lot of writing back then. So I do writing, I get to a point where my blog could easily make 150 to 200k traffic a month. Yeah, organically, by the way, without spending any ads. And the funny thing is, nobody knew that it was not popular even, but I get traffic because of SEO. And a lot of people that even like if you search for recipe content, if you search for travel content, 90% chances is that you have read my blog before. Yeah, people don't know it. And what was funny was that I remember I wanted to go somewhere with a family member, ask for recommendation, like interesting places, tempat menarik di Melaka and whatnot. They forward to me a link to a blog. It was my blog. So you know
itulah sebab kalau buat anonymous blog that people don't know who's the owner.
Who's the owner? I mean, the content is good. People just read it, right?
Yes, true.
So you get money from advertising. The money that I get from advertising, I basically pay for my car insurance and everything. So that's when we realized that we're really good at this. And of course, when it comes to SEO, you can reach on search engine journal. Google have their guideline and whatnot. But everybody's playing using the same book.
Yes.
So if everybody follow the same book, how can one excel if everybody does the exact same thing? So people like us, we don't refer to search engine journal. We don't really refer to like Google, webmaster guideline, whatnot, because Google want to make money. They want to give you information, but not that much, up to the point that Google AdWords become obsolete.
Yep.
They want you to spend some money. So we are the kind of people who go to like Black Hat SEO forum and everything to read the kind of stuff. We test it on our website, figure out there's this thing called White Hat SEO and Black Hat SEO. We figure out the middle part.
What is it called? The middle.
Technically, we call it grey hat lah.
Okay.
So white hat meaning to say you follow the rules.
Okay.
But if you follow the rules,
semua orang follow the rules.
Semua orang follow the rules. How you gonna
excel from
perform?
the others?
Susah. If you go black hat, then you get banned. You get penalized by Google. Website cannot be found and whatnot. So we did a lot of experimentation. I own easily a dozen websites that I would test frequently, just to see if I change this, what will happen, if I change that, what will happen. And that's when you actually get real data and evidence.
Yes, because based on your own experimenting, you get the results on your own. Okay.
So when we talk to clients, when we give advice, it's not because I read something somewhere on search engine land.
It's a thing that we've done before.
We did it before, and I can tell by with conviction, it's because I've done it.
I see.
That is how we decide, this is what we want to name it. So empirical. Yeah. Because the empirical evidence. Okay. And we put a twist to it. We use the Malay spelling rather than the English one, because we wanted to emphasize on our core, not our core, but our origin. Came from Malaysia. We are a local brand, even though we have the vision to go out, to branch out. But this is where everything gets started. Yeah. And then the logo, we engaged a friend which was working with a partner agency. He was Stephen Felix. He was an Indonesian. So when we gave some brief, he came back to us with like, okay, so the logo is actually supposed to be an E. Okay.
Empirical.
An E for empirical. But we rejected the first one because the E looked like the Aussie guy. So it was a bit controversial. So
nanti kena cancel. Banyak company kena cancel.
Kena ban. So we wanted to do something differently. So he took a little twist on it and rearranged a few things. So which we kind of landed on the floral design. So it's actually an arrangement. If you look at the flower design, the old version, now we follow a new brand guideline already, which is a thinner one with a new concept and new philosophy behind it. Actually, it was actually just a rearrangement of that E into like a petal form. Yeah, but at the same time, it's not just flower. It also represents the sun, because technically what the sun does is shed light into the darkness. So that kind of represents what we do for our clients as well, especially in the digital scene. We come in, we give consultation based on what we know, based on the testing that we've done in the past, the result that we've achieved for our own website for our clients. We can help them get to where they want to go. Yeah. So, yeah, that's basically it.
As a foundation of Emperikal.
Yeah.
So maybe people thought that Emperikal macam datang nama tu daripada tempat lain, logonya pun macam senang-senangnya. No, it's actually a story.
There's a story behind
Emperikal itself. So I've been in Emperikal for quite some time, but this is my first time
hearing the story.
Hearing the story. Sebab sebelum ni tak pernah duduk Aliff cerita kat I pasal Emperikal, tak pernah. So this is my first time I know that Emperikal is basically coming from where, and also the logo, it means some things. Yeah. So yeah, it's something that you should know of. Yeah, before you talk to us. Alright. So Aliff, now let's revisit back in the early days, right? I've heard that you've been working hard together with Saiful to bring Emperikal to where we are nowadays, right? So is there any story ke yang macam make you motivated to make Emperikal stay in the business, and also the challenges that you had during these past 7 years?
I would say a lot of what we do in the early years is we just wanted to prove ourselves, because the big ones, as you know, the big 4, the big 6, they don't come from Malaysia.
Yes,
they're from outside, right? All the major media network. And I always believe that the locals, we are just as good. Yeah, and also we work side by side with them as well. So not to say that they're not good, but sometimes people tend to undermine the local talents just because they don't have I would say, a legendary name that comes together with it. Like brands like BBDO, Leo Burnett, and everything goes all the way back. Everybody knows about them. Ogilvy, he wrote books and whatnot. So, but when it comes to traditional advertising, that's one thing already. But when it comes to digital, it's something else entirely, because it's totally new. And the technology involved, totally different story, right? So even from what we do, the skill set is different. You need to be able to learn about the data. You need to know the technology part, the web part of everything, how you do integration and whatnot. So that's when I would say that driven by our passion to prove ourselves and to show to local talents as well. You can be just as good if you're willing to go there.
Yes.
So that's when we started to branch out. So we wanted to compete with the bigger brands to get bigger clients as well. So those kind of names that usually people would say that local agency might not have the privilege of working with. So that's something that we want to do. And the kind of challenge that we have, I would say that from the very beginning, is always when you're new and you're small, people don't really trust you.
Yeah.
So that's always a challenge. But of course, we were blessed by our partner actually, because we started with 14 accounts. If I told you all of them, you would know every single one of them. You probably see all the ads on the roadside. You've seen them on TV and everything, but I cannot mention them because they're not our clients.
Client dulu.
I signed an NDA. So
tak boleh.
Okay, but for our own direct client, yes, we can. We have more of them now, which some of them actually showcase on the website. Some are showcased as case studies. But I would say that's one of the biggest challenges. But the question is, how did we overcome those challenges?
Yes.
Number one, it is rooted in the brand itself, because sometimes when people tend to start a brand or business, because they're new and they're small. Like for example, when we just started, there's just the two of us. We are in fact small. But if you were to represent yourself that way, that we are only a 2-people agency, no one would trust you at the end of the day. There's not a lot of people who would trust you, and those who did trust us at that time, we're truly grateful to them. But from day one, what we did was set brand positioning is very important, which is why also like how the website look like, how our brand look like, is built in a certain way. Like for example, if you go to Emperikal website today, it looks very old. It doesn't look like a fresh agency. We purposely made it that way. We purposely made it to look mature. We are mature people, right? We've been doing this for quite some time. We have data and everything. We have experience under our belt. So we wanted to represent ourselves from the very beginning, even when the skill is not paid yet, even when the manpower or workforce is not there yet. That's number one. Number two is how we overcome those challenges. Is of course you, I would say, you do things that. How do I put it? At that time, what kind of people are, the kind of people that, like for example, businesses are very impressed with people from Silicon Valley.
Yes.
Okay, so people like Mark Zuckerberg and whatnot. So we use that as a factor as well to kind of shock and awe. Like there were a time that I went to office not even wearing like this. People would think this is casual already. I used to go to work in sweatpants.
Silicon Valley lah ni.
Yeah. There was a time Saiful and I went to pitch a CEO of a public listed company wearing sweatpants.
You and Saiful.
Yeah. We went out of the boardroom. Our competitor, a big agency, wear full suit with ties, and we won. Yeah, so that happened. That's one of interesting moments. So we relied on that as well. But of course, that's not popular anymore. Even Mark Zuckerberg changed his style already.
Yeah.
Now he has a gold chain.
Dah tua.
Dah tua.
Bukan dah matang.
Dah matang.
Sure.
But at that time, I think having that surprise factor plays a lot of difference. So whatever we are short, okay, we don't have a big name, we don't have establishment and everything, we are new. So we do above and beyond. And on top of that as well, like for example, when people go to pitches, usually you know that sometimes the client might not have the budget, sometimes the client might not buy the idea yet, but we go all out every single time, regardless of what the chances of success is going to be. But I think it works well for us because probably clients see that we really wanted to have the account, that they decided to give it to us.
I see. So it's a long story, right? Macam 7 tahun, 7 years is long. Kalau ada anak dah darjah 1, dah ada sekolah rendah dah sekarang.
So it's actually longer than my marriage.
So you start Emperikal before you are married?
Yep. I was single the first year. So that's also why I was able to do a lot of crazy
No wonder
things.
boleh pergi tengok wayang, boleh pergi swimming.
Yeah.
I see. Alright. Tapi it's a long journey, long. Kalau saya cakap lah, kalau ada anak pun dah darjah 1.
Yep.
So I think enough for the old Emperikal, not the past story. So let's talk about the present, like Emperikal nowadays. Can you explain a bit like how the dynamic, the team, Emperikal in 2024?
Okay. So there are a couple of different areas. So the first one is the business unit itself, right? So we have the agency, stays as an agency, which is Emperikal Media Group. But today is no longer like what it used to be before, whereby everything sits under the same brand. So our vision was that we want to turn Emperikal into a homegrown media network.
I see.
That's what it is. Okay, so that's why today we have Emperikal, which is see at the top of everything. This is where the strategy comes out. Okay, overarching strategy across different platforms and also mixed with I would say business acumen. Mean to say, everything that we see, we don't only see from the advertising side. I believe it goes back to the root of advertising agency in itself. If you watch movie like shows like Don Draper in Mad Men,
Okay.
they don't just talk about brand and ad and everything to generate sales. They provide that kind of recommendation even, and we always put ourselves in the same kind of I would say thought and philosophy. Like whenever Saiful and myself will go to a meeting with a client, we'd always tell the client this: whenever I make a decision for you, whenever I give you a strategy or recommendation, I would think, what if this is my own company? How do I do it? Alright, so that's what we do. So that's Emperikal, and we continue to do that until today. And then down there's also different business unit. Of course, one of it, Faiz is actually spearheading. I should have him explaining this actually, but yeah, I'll just cover it.
Payahlah Aliff to explain.
But just to share how we kind of split everything, right? So we have Emperikal that does strategy and consulting, and then we have Radical led by Faiz to do the social media part. So anything on content production, social media, that's where we want to park it under, including influencer engagement as well. And then we have performance team. We call them tactical because usually it involves running a tactical campaign. And then we have technical that does website and also SEO.
Yes.
We do have others that kind of did not, I would say, did not come to fruition yet. Like we wanted to have our brand team, which is Magical. So Magical's not here yet, so we might have that down the line.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a couple, but you probably realize that it kind of rhymes. Yeah, but for
Radical,
now,
tactical, magical, technical.
yes. But where
Empirical. Okay.
So where the demand is more on the true execution, and we realize that in recent years, because we are technical people.
Yes.
Okay, so it's always deeply rooted in SEO, performance advertising. But we realized that in the past couple of years, demand for social media has been rising. So that's when we switch the attention, and also in terms of hiring and everything, we look into more creative talent. And I think it's also important because, I mean, I have eye for design. If a design is bad, I can tell you it's bad. Okay, I probably can tell you every once in a while how to fix it,
Yes.
but I cannot do it every single day because I do not come from that discipline. Yeah, so we have to rely on new talent, like for example Faiz and I actually go way back from different company, a different project that we work together with. Yeah, one of the most promising talent, that I would say. That's why he's sitting where he is today.
Thank you.
Okay, promote Faiz a bit. Yeah, but he deserves it. He gives every single
Thank you.
respect. That's what we want to continue to be doing. So everything still sits under one umbrella for the time being, with the vision of expansion, and then all these brands can sit on their own eventually. So in a way, it's not just to grow an agency, but at the same time, of course, to offer more job opportunities and also career growth. We want our talent to be able to sit in the same position that myself and Saiful are in, to be doing decision making, to be leading a company. Like rather than one company with one CEO, you can have a bunch of company with a bunch of different CEOs and running everything, right? And there will be a point of time that we're also thinking that, we might want to not really keluar lah, just see as consultant, see as advisor, but not the one that
Running the show.
Running the show. There's always a chance for somebody else, especially digital moving so fast.
Yes.
Right?
So fast.
For example, like Toyota, the CEO stepped down because he thought that he's old already. So it's time for somebody else to take over. That time might come. So we prepare for that. And that's on the agency side. And recently, last year actually, we've done something else because it was actually subsequent, I would say, occasion of what happened in the recent years, because we are now in 7 years, but a lot of things actually happened in year 5. So why year 5 is because in the agency world, that's when the company is ripe for acquisition. So usually
most of the agency will face these things.
Yeah,
most of it.
But the profitable ones, of course, the one that's growing, the profitable ones. Because all those media network, they will be buying agencies. VCs are buying agencies. Okay, so in year 5.
Can you explain a bit about what is VCs? Maybe some.
Venture capital.
Okay.
Yeah, so
what they do?
Investors, basically.
Okay.
So they buy companies. All right, they buy companies. The company make money, and then they make profit from it. And they buy more. They buy more. They buy more. So they keep doing that. So rather than looking for customers, they buy profitable companies to invest in.
So you mean that based on what you're saying kan, seems macam previous, after 5 years, what happened to Emperikal is there is someone want to buy over Emperikal?
Yep.
Oh, I don't know that.
So not someone, a few of them.
I see.
Even like there were also conglomerate, local conglomerate that wanted to that showed their interest as well. So that's when sign NDA and everything, disclose papers and whatnot. They give the offer letter, but that's when we realized that one, of course, they could not agree to the terms that we wanted, and it also the thing about agency is that what's the strength of an agency? The people. Nothing else. We don't have products to sell.
Yes.
There's only the talent. But of course, one of the main reason that they mentioned from the very beginning, why we started this whole thing, is that we wanted that freedom of decision making. So we pick clients that we like to promote products that we believe in and do the greatest work that we can with as little limitations as possible. So technically, the only limiter is the client. So nobody else above us. We don't have investors. We don't have a board apart from the two of us to report to. Okay, so we can do whatever we want as long as we feel that it is right. So when we got all the offers, all of that were, of course, first thing first, they want to buy a majority stake. There will be decision maker, there will be a board that you report to, there will be a target, whatever they are, not really much of an issue. We have our internal target too. But more importantly, both of us will be tied for at least 5 years, which is a common term. Which is common term for acquisition for agency. Normal. Yeah. Then we realized that it's not that attractive because we're technically going back to square one.
Yes.
Yeah. So we turned down all of them. A few of them, actually, a bunch of them asked, but a few of them come back with an offer, but we rejected all. And then the response that we gave was that we wanted to bet on ourselves. So if you could not come to my number, right?
Then that's it.
This is, I think, where the value of the company is, and this is where you think it is. Meeting in the middle is one thing, but on top of it, other terms like getting tied down and whatnot.
Yes.
If you couldn't agree on the term, then might as well we do it ourselves. So that's when all the expansion and everything started. Radical, technical started in year 5. Okay, where we branch out to more SMEs and everything. There's a lot of different learnings that we got from that as well. Yeah, so that there's a reason why we have a ratio today of I would say enterprise versus all of them are enterprise, all are businesses, but SMEs and also MNCs that we work with, we kind of split them up, and also there's a ratio of how much we service. But on top of that, we realized that if you want to go far, running an agency alone, apart from building more brands and everything, acquisition, getting more clients, there's also a limitation to that as well. Limitation can be many. Financial can be one of it. The bigger the client, usually insider information. Okay, not all clients with big money are willing to pay you upfront.
Yes.
Yeah, so for one brand, for example, the big one probably have asked you that you have to front load like 3 million, a year, and then I'll pay you with 90 days. I pay you half a year or anything. So not all of them are, I would say, are willing to make. Good paymaster is another story.
Another story lah. Okay.
And that's, I mean that's part of business.
Tapi
happens every time.
For that is normal, right?
Yeah,
in
that's
this
common.
business world, that the big company they will ask you to upfront first, right?
And I believe that's also why not a lot of local players are able to compete at that level of working with MNCs because of
that
financial limitation.
I see.
That could be one of it as well. So we experienced that before, so we have to maintain a ratio. All right. But that's when we realized that if you want to go further, you have to go to the other route as well. Like, how do you spend this on top of having an agency? And we do not have investors, so everything is actually bootstrapped from day one. Okay, so you can either go SaaS, software as a service, build digital products, or venture into something else entirely. So we figure out that SaaS is a lot of it already. Of course, before you want to do that, you want to do research, competition benchmarking. We realized that it's quite saturated already. So there's a lot of that we of course you have to see at things in terms of risk and also reward, and also how difficult it is, and if there's already somebody who've done that before successfully, and a lot of giants are doing it. And we realized that it might take time for us to do that. So what's the next best alternative? And figure out that why not we venture into retail ourselves? That's when we started to do e-commerce, which was last year. Yeah, we've been experimenting and everything, but right now we have a couple of e-commerce brands running in Europe. Which is quite interesting as well.
So Aliff, e-commerce is totally different industry from what you do in Emperikal. Macam Emperikal, back in the days, we start with the SEO things, and then we venture into social media. So there is a tie for that lah. Then suddenly you ask e-commerce to come to join Emperikal. Macam where is this come? Then what makes you choose e-commerce?
Follow that. Okay, it actually you might not see the connection, but if you look at it backwards, you will see it. Because what does it take to run a successful e-commerce industry? By the way, we do fashion.
Okay.
Which is quite surprising for someone like me. If you have ever watched my content and everything, I wear the same shirt and everything. Yeah. But today, I can tell the difference between wedges. I know what's a mini, midi, maxi dress and everything, which is quite surprising. I'm like Stanley Tucci now.
Okay, hebat lah, hebat.
In Devil Wear Prada. Yeah. But the reason why we not chose that, actually we decided on that after testing a lot of different things. We settled on e-commerce, especially fashion retail and everything, because number one, to run a proper e-commerce brand, you need to have superior product, good product. So if we have that, we are in contact with suppliers, all right, that we know, and we realize that we have products already. Okay, we don't have to build our own. Eventually we might go there in the future. That is the future part of things. Yeah. So you sell other people product, that's good. You're a reseller, all right. And when, of course, you make significant growth and everything, that's why you can transition into your own brand, which is in reverse from a lot of what people do these days. They build their own brand, they have the product first, and then they start to sell it.
Okay.
For us, we test first. Which product are people willing to buy? And then the product that we see who are winners, that's when we want to turn into a brand.
Okay.
So we test first, turn brand. We reverse the whole thing.
Everything's okay.
Alright.
Ni memang tak ikut buku.
Tak ikut buku. From day one, we tak ikut buku. And then, apart from that, you need to have a good, I would say, a good platform for people. Okay, which is the stores. It was easy for us. We have been building websites.
Oh yeah. Oh okay.
We've been building websites. So the e-commerce store that we do, we actually build it ourselves.
Oh, okay.
And then, what's another part of it? Advertising. We've been doing it for the longest time.
Yeah.
But yes, it was different. The strategy was different. We learned from other people too.
I see.
There's a lot of talents outside globally that we learn from, where the strategy is not the same as what you do conventionally.
But
for big brands,
it's still macam we didn't start from scratch lah.
Didn't start from scratch.
We already have a few things on our hands that other people start from zero. At least for us, we start from 60 something, 60, 70.
Yep.
Right.
You need a product, you need a platform, you need advertising, you need fulfillment and whatnot. I would say the only thing that we truly had to learn was the fulfillment part.
The documentation and all of it.
How to sort out the whole thing, how do you source in different countries, different regulation, the taxation, you don't have VAT and everything. That's the only thing that we had to learn. Advertising, we cover it already. Yeah. So
website cover, advertising cover.
So all the tweaks and changes that we need to do and everything, we even know how to do it on our own. Anything too complex, we know which talent to pass it to and to help us. Basically, we did not build everything 100%. So whenever we need to escalate, we know the people who can do it. We know where to get it from. All the softwares and tools to use and everything is something that we're very familiar with. It's not an entirely,
start from scratch.
Yeah, it's not a totally new territory for us. So that's where we realized that how interesting it is that whatever we've gone through 7 years ago as an agency brought us to this. And what's more interesting is that recently, because of what we have managed to gain, I won't share in this podcast, but we do share in case studies for people who want to become our e-commerce clients. I disclose that only for clients or potential clients. We use our learning from e-commerce advertising, and then we adopted it into advertising for our clients. We do it for them. And it's the learning and data and empirical data that we got from spending millions of our own money on advertising. I'm not spending clients' money and telling I know this is enough. Of course, when you spend other people's money, you kind of have, you relax lah because it's other people's money. No, we spend our own money. Every single dollar, every single euro counts. Yeah, we spent millions of that. Alright, and of course, the kind of learning, the kind of data, insights, and everything that I got is way more than what we have learned in the first 6 years. In the last 1 year, what we understand and learn about performance advertising is way more than what we learned in the past 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So what's more beneficial for our clients now that we know all of this, we can give them even more valuable insights. Yeah, so this is the kind of thing that I would say that it might feel or sound like two very different things, but it's actually not. Yeah, both sides can actually benefit from each other.
Oh, so now I can see the connection between the e-commerce and the other things that we do, because here in Emperikal, we have been exposed with quite numbers of things like social media, because digital things every day keep changing. Hari-hari mesti akan ada yang berubah. So takkan ada yang sama every single day. Like Meta just launched a few new rules and regulations. So yeah, that's the digital world. So if you can't go with the wave, then you akan tertinggal dekat belakang. So Aliff, can you share with us a bit, like Emperikal ni, it's a local company, local talent, with local and international brands that we have, right? For you, in the short one, like what's make us unique place to work, and how does it foster creativity and innovation for Emperikal?
I would say that what makes us unique is in the philosophy of work itself. Again, I always like to say that this agency started out of passion. Okay, Saiful and I are technical executioner. So we do not start this because we just want to start a business and make money. We are good at what we do. We want to do more of it. And apparently, working with agency, you're not stuck with one brand. So I also like the idea of working with multiple brands. We work with auto, we work with healthcare. We work with property. What else? Education. Banks.
Insurance,
Tagaful,
corporate, yang betul-betul
corporate, GLCs, we work with that, FMB, we work with that, cosmetic and everything, pharmaceutical, we work with all of that.
Yes, true.
So I think that's a really interesting part, but at the end of the day, the philosophy itself, like I said just now, is in our approach to work. We don't just see it as a client that we acquire, we just service whatever you do, similar to what everybody else does. As long as the service level is up to industry standard, then it's good. We do not see it that way. We always want to deliver the best work that we can be proud of. Like whenever I deliver something to my client, like for example, if I build a landing page, after I finish, I will stare at landing page. I'm so proud that I built this.
Basically, you're proud on the things that you work on.
Yeah, and also it goes to if I can like pin it to a single word, I would say care. That's our philosophy. That makes us different. So whatever that we do, we actually care about what we do for our client, and we instill this kind of philosophy in every single person in the team. First thing that we do, of course, for them to care for the client, we need to care for them first. So that's the kind of philosophy that will be here as well. We care about every single people that work around here. We have a flat structure, by the way.
Yes.
Okay.
Sangat.
Corporate one, you call it a power distance. We do not have a power distance. The power distance is 0. So there was a time that Saipo technically don't have a place to sit. You sit anywhere. If people come, no place to sit, just sit at his place. He would do that. All right. And on the early days, how we symbolize that is actually by doing things, by not being shy to get our hands dirty. In the early days, when there's only like 10 people on the team and everything, when we go into the office, we were the ones who take the trash out. Yeah, and we do things like that for the people. So when we show care to our team member, our hope and also the kind of result that we see, that our team members show care to our client, and only with care you can deliver high standard of work.
So that's what I feel here in Emperikal. I feel like people care of me.
I didn't force Faiz to say that.
Alright, Aliff. So we go back a bit about e-commerce, right? Is there any achievement that you're proud of about the recent e-commerce that we had? I think we had e-commerce platform last year, not 1 year, tak sampai setahun lagi. So is there any things that you proud of that you made? with e-commerce?
I would say yes. On the e-commerce side, is that the learning curve is really fast. In terms of sales and revenue that we have achieved, it's actually faster than what we expected. But I have to attribute that to our skill or the kind of experience that we've gained from working on the agency side.
Yes.
Advertising and everything, the learning curve is actually much faster.
So because you have that knowledge, the e-commerce punya lagi laju gila boleh buat.
Laju gila boleh buat. But of course, there's challenges when you do things too fast as well. So that's why we need to pace it a little bit lah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you need to let the business go organically. We have some learning, of course. Not everything is sugars and rainbows. Yeah, when it comes to any kind of business, right? So there's always challenges and everything, like for example, dealing with payment processes, going into a market that, actually in this market, for example, like there's this thing called buy now pay later,
yes.
which is actually, there are certain market on the e-commerce, from the e-commerce perspective. If you do not have these, for example, if you don't have PayPal, you shouldn't enter this market. If you don't have Klarna, you shouldn't enter that market.
Ooh.
There are certain things that we did not know at first. We learn about later. Eventually we learn, there's actually a such thing as rolling reserve. There's return rate and whatnot. A lot of things that we had to learn as well, which is very interesting. But in terms of the number and the target they wanted to achieve and the kind of revenue, it was actually beyond what we expected, because kind of faster than we thought.
Okay.
But right now, I think we are at the more stable phase. We tested a couple of markets, everything. The interesting thing is that the world will feel very big when you're fixed to one place. When we work in Malaysia only serving local clients,
Yes.
feel very small. But now when we do e-commerce, I mean, of course, it's a bit different when we do regional account. There are clients that sits in Singapore, but we work for Thailand, we work for Indonesia, we work for Philippines. But you still see the same client in KL. It's different. But when we do e-commerce, we're bouncing from one market to another. Okay, we launch in we launch in this country, we launch in Germany, and after that we move to UK. After that we test it in Australia. After that we go to Denmark, and then we move to Italy. And then suddenly the world feels like a much smaller place. Actually, that's the very interesting part of it. But yeah, that's the kind of learning that we got. The numbers and everything I won't disclose in this podcast, because that number and that case study I strictly only share to our clients and leads, since we kind of consider it confidential as well.
But I can say it's a no-brainer kind of amount of, like,
not too crazy amount. It's a realistic amount to get, of course.
But in a short period, that is crazy.
Yeah, we did that period.
That is crazy. All right, Aliff. So before we continue, right, for the what's going to be the future of Emperikal, can we play some games? Not games lah, basically.
Sure.
I just want to ask you, you've been in this industry for 7 years.
But it's not in the script.
No, this tak ada. Ini tak ada script. This one I buat sendiri. Okay? So, this is called trend or trash.
Okay.
So, if this thing is a trend, you let us know, like, why this is a trend, and if it's trash, why is it trash?
Okay.
Right. So the first one, TikTok dance challenge for brands. Is it trend or trash?
Okay. Favorite answer for consultant depends. Okay. All right. So both are correct. Okay, it's a trend, but there are certain requirements. Like for example, if your brand is something that can be fun and is supposed to be fun, then okay. And if, for example, extra, you have like mascot or anything.
Yes.
If you've ever watched Duolingo, crazy. The Duolingo owl, that's crazy.
They're good.
That if you're like that, you're that kind of brand, you have that kind of representation, you have persona that you can ride on, it's a trend. It's a trash if, like for example, you are a corporate that should not do something like that.
Okay.
It will tarnish your authority, your credibility, then it's trash.
I see. Alright. So the next one, AI generated content. Trend or trash?
I would say trend, depending on the scale of what you do and the type of thing that you do. Like for e-commerce side, we actually do that as well. Partially you use AI generated content because there's too many of it. But it can be trash at some point, because when you use AI generated content like Midjourney and anything, for example, for product placement and whatnot, you're telling people that you're cheap. You're not willing to spend money on product shoot. You're not willing to spend money on models. So depends on where you want to go. If you're a small brand with actual limitations to resources, then it's okay.
True.
Yeah, but one thing that I can tell is that generated content getting better and better these days. I actually use like ChatGPT 4o as my assistant.
Yes.
Yeah, which is I would just ask weird and odd question, just install it on my phone and not. So I would say that, I'm leaning towards trend rather than trend.
It's a trend. Okay. So the next one will be influencers with less than 1,000 followers, or we call it nano influencers. Is it a trend or trash?
I will put it on trend. And the reason why is because, by the way, we've dealt with influencers from 1,000 follower to 1 million follower. Okay, and you know how much they charge? Those with 7-figure followers.
True.
Which not everybody can afford.
It's crazy.
And also, it goes down to the actual purpose or the objective of the campaign. If all you want is impression and awareness, it makes sense. But if you want impact, like for example, you want conversion, then nano influencer might work still. Like, because take for example, like for me personally, I have 2 different accounts. One I open to the public, and then another one is strictly for my family members only. Okay, but the engagement rate by ratio, this one get 2 to 5% engagement rate, but the personal one get 20, 30 to sometimes 50% engagement rate. So because it's be on personal level, people might not have people might have more trust on it.
So sebab sekarang pun most of the influencers yang ada dekat social media, back in the days, we looking towards people who have more than 50k, 100k of followers.
You have many tier. You ada nano, micro,
mega,
all
macam-macam lah.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I also agree with you lah. It's a trend lah, because I believe my wife also do like cooking punya videos. Macam in Malaysia, the one that won the TikTok award.
Yeah.
Cik Saya, recipe Cik Sayang. For me, a lot of people out there, being nano influencers is actually better, and I believe more on nano influencers punya review rather than all those big influencers, because all the big influencers usually they got paid with certain amount of money lah. But nano influencers usually they want to do review because they want people to know them, and also they want to get free foods or maybe free products. So by that things, I believe more on the people yang have low number of followers, but they do review on kedai makan ke, food ke. So yeah, I believe I agree with you.
But I have to mention one thing that you need if you want to launch a campaign like that for non-influencers. You need scale. So it will not work if like you only engage one or
2 orang je.
So like we did actually for a brand a couple of months back, which is for cosmetic. We deployed, I think, 50 to 100 nano influencers in the campaign. And then what you get when, like for example, you go on TikTok, you search for the brand,
semua keluar.
Semua keluar. So that's the kind of impact. If you know how to execute it right, nano influencer works.
Okay, but so it depends also on the products lah, right?
Yeah, betul.
And yeah, as Aliff said, we also propose to our clients that if you want to do the KOL kind of campaign, there is 2 ways of do it. Either you hire the big influencers, or we go small influencers but bigger scale.
Yep.
Right? So we get the awareness better. Right, the next one will be Aliff. Instagram shopping features, trend or trash? I tak pernah nampak pun Instagram shopping features. Dia dah ada.
Belum lagi, because right now you have the shop function on the profile, but still go to the website. So I would say it's a trend because it's my guess is that it is coming later on. Because why? TikTok dah ada
beg kuning.
Because TikTok dah ada beg kuning and everything. It's only about time before Facebook will do something about it. I don't think they'll be stupid enough to just sit around, Mark Zuckerberg just see, TikTok ada TikTok shop and it's working, you can buy on that straight away. Technically they're doing something similar to what Shopee does, and then Facebook is just gonna watch. I don't think so. I think probably they're working on something to sort out the technical part of thing, to make sure it's safe and whatnot. Right now it's just attribution. Yeah, ada dekat shop and everything, you click, they say that buy through Instagram, but cannot see buy directly. But I imagine if you have that already, probably coming soon.
Oh my god. Okay, so it will be a trend. Can we say that? Okay.
Social commerce will grow bigger. That's what my expectation of the future.
Okay. So for you guys, apa kata kita dah boleh start buat korang punya social media platform sendiri? Macam macam last previous episode kalau korang tengok, Malaysia masih tak ada that strong social media that people can use, right? So I don't know if we will be there, but hopefully one day, right? Next one, Aliff. Another two lah, right? So you guys, if you guys have any question, you guys also can write on the comment below. Maybe on the next episode we can bring that question and we will
the
answer.
question is even worthy of a topic, we might cover it as a title.
Yes. Betul.
That could come to.
Alright, NFT marketing campaign, trend or trash? NFT marketing campaign.
It's controversial. It's controversial because
Okay
I'll be honest with you. What is an NFT, right? I mean, Faiz and I, we go way back. If you Google us about NFT,
oh my God,
about that as well. So NFT is technically at its core, it's like a technology. It's a non-fungible token, but as a marketing campaign, so technically it's just like a certificate lah.
Ownership lah. The ownership
certificate of ownership and also
to a digital product.
Yeah, for digital product. As a marketing campaign, it worked before, but I don't see it working as much as effectively now. Macam dah kurang BAYC apa semua tak ke mana dah. We saw all of that. But I think if the question is there utility for NFT, I think still yes. I do believe in that. It should have some purpose. It's just that NFT in itself as a marketing campaign and everything, it was a hype. Yeah, I have to call it as it is. After a couple of years, it was at the height of everything over the past couple of years.
Yes.
But we don't really hear it now. The trading volume is less. The value of NFTs are less now today compared to before as well. At the end of the day, it depends on people believing in it. But I think that the purpose of it, utility is there. It's just that it was promoted as something that it is not.
I think actually for NFT pun the
You still keep your NFTs?
me?
Yeah.
Yes, I still have mine. But I don't have all those yang big NFT lah. My own NFT I ada lah. But the how I call it, macam dia punya the workflow, the process, the data that we have, the metadata that we have for each digital product, the things is good. But I think maybe we are not there yet. We'll see. But for now, I call it trash. I call it trash straight away. No controversial.
It was wrongly used by people because I believe that there's value for artists.
Oh yes.
Yeah, there's value for artists. You get, every time an NFT being purchased, you kind of get a kickback and everything. It's really good.
All access lah.
I believe that. But I think what was wrong was that you promote as long just about other NFT and then you can create your own NFT and become valuable. It does not automatically become valuable. It comes with utility.
Yes.
Yeah, when artists do it, when brands like Lamborghini, everything do it, of course it's valuable. There's something tight or there's something backing it.
Yep.
So that's the difference.
Alright. So for now, I call it trash. I will not change my mind. For now lah.
For now.
Alright, Aliff.
Changed so much these days.
Last question, Aliff.
Okay.
Brands having their own podcast, trend or trash?
Okay.
For you lah. For you.
Yeah. Actually, we do not officially have a podcast for ourselves, but we only have a handful of clients that have podcasts. A lot of them doesn't have it, but I think it's a trend. I think because at the end of the day, it's a way of content consumption, right?
Yep.
Why do people listen to podcasts? They want either to be entertained, they want to learn something,
But most of the time, entertainment.
Most of the time, entertainment.
je.
Okay, like for example, if I can recall a couple of weeks back, I go back kampung, and then my little cousin, he lie down, and then he just put his phone like this, right? And I was like, tengah buat apa tu? And then he told me that dengar cerita hantu. I like, not watch TV, not YouTube, dengar podcast cerita hantu.
Yes.
So of course
That's what I do.
that's what
I bawa motor pun I dengar cerita hantu.
so
it's different. I think the way people consume all this audio sound,
audio entertainment, I think that Malaysia probably was a bit slow before because more on visual based content, talk and everything. a bit slower on audio and rely a lot on like radio. But I think people are more and more. Of course, we can refer to the data on that. By the way, because it's a apa nama ni yang kita buat flash something
Trend.
I don't know the rapid fire ni.
Oh, the rapid fire.
Of course, to be honest, I didn't check the data, so I cannot really say. But I believe that it's growing because, especially for audio streaming, it's actually growing globally. So it's just in Malaysia, it should be growing as well over time. But as and when more people go into that, people are more attuned to listening to podcasts. Like for example, as simple as there's more Spotify subscribers, they probably go into podcasts as well. Okay, so I would say it's a trend, even though I had my personal one. By the way, I did that for fun.
Oh, okay. Boleh
I
share?
did it for fun. No, I don't want to lah. But I mean, if you Google my name, you will find it on the first page. I did that because, to be very honest, whenever client wanted to do something, before I suggest them it's viable and everything, I want to know the mechanics behind it. I did it myself first.
Yes, true.
So I had my own podcast with a few episodes and everything. So I know, how do I produce this thing? How do I edit this thing? How do I distribute this thing? Right? On which platform and everything?
Yes.
And how does the even monetization work? Yeah, so I went through all of that, and what was funny was that I was approached by a blogger to list my podcast. Yeah, as one of the top business or marketing podcasts in Malaysia. I said no because he was asking for money. I did it for fun. He was asking for money. I said no, and then the guy ended up still adding my name, my podcast into the list. You'll still see it today, which is quite funny.
Oh my god. Tapi at the end of the day, the way of people consume the music, any sort of art will be different along the way lah, right?
They might change.
Macam back in the days kita ada TV shows, kita ada movie, and then sekarang semua benda nak short form video.
Yes.
Short video works very, very, very good, especially for brands. So it's the world is changing. Right, Aliff? So before we end our session, right? Let's talk about Emperikal punya future. Like looking ahead, what's the vision of Emperikal over the next few years, or maybe 10 years, 15 years? I don't know. So what's the vision?
On the agency side, I would say that we're staying true to where the vision is and the mission is right now. We want to become a homegrown media network. So we're still working our way towards that. And we are bringing, I would say, talents who are capable of doing that, not just in terms of technical know-how, but also the people who believe in the same thing that we do, and also believe in themselves enough. So that's who we want to bring in, and also want to retain at the same time. So I would say that the vision over the next 3 years, for example, to hit the 10-year mark. So that's where we want to be. And of course, there's annual growth that we'll be looking at, further expansion, going across the different regions and everything. We wanted to do a couple of things. That did not happen. For example, like by the way, we actually registered in UK and also Hong Kong.
Oh.
Yeah, so we have a regional business registered over there. So eventually we wanted to go into that as well to allow us to service regional client more effectively too. That might happen in the future. But yeah, probably there'll be less involvement from myself and Saiful personally, as we groom talents like Faiz, we have Walter and the rest of the team members who will be taking over on the leadership part. Walter's not in this podcast, probably be on the next one. He's one of our
next episode, Walter.
Next episode probably. And then on the e-commerce side is about growth as well. So we don't know where we are going to be, but the vision is that whatever we're doing right now, we're technically resellers, we're selling other people's products, but eventually we want to grow it, and reinvest whatever that we accumulate on the e-commerce side. Eventually we want to figure out what kind of products and brands or segment that we want to be in. Pick the segment, have the product, and then we build the brand. So we do it in reverse. Technically, whatever we're doing right now is like a market test.
Yes.
We're testing the market. So eventually this is where we see where it's going to be, at least over the next 3 to 5 years. For 10 or 20 years, I cannot really say, because things change so fast.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, one thing that I probably say, at least personally for me, it will still be somewhere along the line of, technical or digital. Probably be there.
Yes. as we can see, the digital world keep changing, and I believe it's gonna be here forever because it helps a lot of people.
Yeah.
Most of the business use digital things.
Yeah.
The internet, and also as long as the internet is here, then we'll still be here. Right, Aliff? So the last part, this is the last part. So reflecting back on the past 7 years, right? What's the biggest lesson that you ever had?
Okay, the biggest lesson that I personally have had is I would say that a bit more careful with how we spend our resources, financially, our time, and our manpower.
All right, and then the last part, last one, before we ending our podcast, is there anyone that you want to acknowledge? You want to thanks? You want to say thank you to them that they have been with Emperikal, maybe, or maybe they are here, maybe they are not here. You want to mention anybody?
A lot of people. I cannot mention any single name because there's too many, but I can say who they are. First of all, our partners who believed in us from day one, because without them, the opportunity would not arise even in the first place. Yeah, it might turn into something else. I would probably be jumping from one agency to another. I don't know what I'm gonna do, by the way. Of course, our talent. Without our talent, we would get nowhere. Saifu and I can say that we're good at technical, but a lot of areas we don't know. There are people on the web development side with 10-20 years of experience that we relied on. As our consultants, we have our partners, service providers as well. We have people working part-time, but sometimes, when you do high-grade production, we bring in-house, we bring in production team.
Yes.
And then on the creative side, when we expand Radical, a social media team, we brought in people with creative talent, whereby people like us who were not classically trained in. And eventually every single person who has ever joined this agency, who's ever stepped into our office, worked with us, some of them joined during COVID and left before everybody came back in. Interns, there are people who I am still in touch with. Because whenever they step into the office, we don't really think about rank. So even their intern, I go for lunch with them and everything. I think of them like my little brother. So they know who they are. They're still in touch with me. Every single one of them were good. So I just want to take this opportunity. If you guys are watching this video, I wanted to say thank you to all of the contribution, all the journey that we went through together, all the sacrifice that we've made, all those, late night, odd hours, part of life when it comes to agency. There were times that, Hari Raya, Malam Raya, we are waiting to publish a promo at 12 midnight because it's a Raya promo. Those kind of things happen. Okay. Berhenti on the roadside because we have to build the deck, because we have to send it there and there, stuff like that. Okay, but a lot of people, the partner, the team, the client who believe in us, especially those who believe in us when we don't have all those flashy, I would say, portfolio to show. Maybe right now when clients see, they get impressed and everything. But think of those days when we don't have all of that, and we could only bet on ourselves. Like, you had to believe in us. We have nothing to show, and they did believe in us. And I would say to my family as well. My mom, who was worried a lot when I wanted to do this, but she said that do it anyway if this is really something that you want to do. And my wife, we met in law school, so we were classmates before. I took the other way. I took the other route. I even left the professional legal service to do this, but I still got the support from my family.
Thank you, Aliff, also for being here.
Thank you for joining this venture and being part of this as well, because Faiz and I go way back. We worked together at a different company.
Oh, yes.
For different project, for totally different role. What I did was nothing related to advertising even.
Tapi apa yang I buat is something like this lah, more or less.
Yeah.
But back in the days, I'm still searching what I'm going to do with my life. It's apa ni orang kata, takdir Tuhan lah terjumpa Aliff and know him. He's just such a good mentor, right? Such a good mentor, such a good brother that I had this past 3 years, right? So
yeah, it's been 3-4 years.
3-4 years kan. So Wah, so macam it's quite long lah, bukan baru.
Yeah, I was there on his first day at his previous company.
Malu lah. But anyway, Aliff, thank you for being here. It's awesome 7 years for Emperikal, and it's going to be more fun, more exciting things moving forward lah, I believe. And yeah, that's all from me. We hope that you enjoy the podcast session. If you guys have any question, any topics that you guys want us to talk about, please write in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bells. When the new video come out, you will get the notification. Right, Aliff? Thanks again for being here.
Thanks, Faiz, for setting this up, and thank you everybody for watching.
Alright, yeah. See you guys soon on another episode of Emperikal Unplugged. Bye.